What up, y'all? And before we start this video, I want to say thank y'all so much for being so patient with me. This summer and spring has been super busy for me between work, travel, school. It's just been a lot going on, y'all. So I do apologize for the delay in these reviews. I have a couple videos coming up. I do know about the new Sonic game coming out. I'm super excited. If you saw my community post, I am super hyped about that. But here's a review that is long overdue. Resident Evil 4 Remake. Let's get into it. Resident Evil 4. Say what you want about the series as a whole, but Resident Evil 4 is one of those games that seems to make everyone's best games of all time list. Some may argue that Resident Evil 4 somewhat divided the fan base into two different categories. You have your day one fans who prefer the true survival horror experience, low ammo, and focus on puzzle solving, and then you have the fans who prefer the more action, fast-paced approach. And personally, I love both experiences, but Capcom does a great job creating games with both groups in mind. Now, when Resident Evil 4 Remake was announced, I was super hyped. I'm not even gonna lie to y'all. Resident Evil 4 was my introduction to the series as a whole, and I remember playing it on the GameCube and later on the PlayStation 2. And over the years, we had multiple re-releases and remasters. So yeah, I definitely had my time with the original Resident Evil 4. You also had some people saying, oh, why is this game getting a remake? It doesn't really need it. And I can see where they're coming from. The original game still holds up pretty well by modern standards, but why not allow a new generation to experience a classic reimagined? I'm with it. Capcom has been doing some great things with the Resident Evil series. Resident Evil 2 Remake is easily one of my favorite games of last generation, and I also purchased Resident Evil 3 Remake, but I have yet to play it. I'll get to it eventually. Resident Evil 7 and 8 were also really fun games that introduced the amazing RE engine, which has produced some amazing looking games visually, and RE4 Remake is no exception to that. It looks great. Now, getting into the game itself, our guy Leon is sent on a mission to rescue the president's daughter Ashley in this rural area of Spain. Throughout our adventure, we get into some really scary life and death situations and discover tons of lore on this mysterious land. The story is essentially the same as the original with some changes here and there, but overall the story is interesting and definitely one of my favorites out of the mainline games. Now, in this review, I don't want to constantly compare this game to the original. Yes, it helps to have a reference point by playing the original, but I'm looking at this game as its own thing. So with that being said, this is a great game and a perfect way to introduce a classic to a new generation of gamers. Let's get into the gameplay. Just like 2 and 3 Remake, 4 is a third-person shooter that has more focus on action. You'll be gunning your way through hordes of zombies, possessed hogs, and much more. The thing that Resident Evil 4 does well is the environment and setting. I constantly felt uneasy and uncomfortable exploring these areas, and you're constantly on edge. Capcom did a great job of creating tension as you move throughout the game. This game is using the RE engine, so the lighting, visual effects, and everything else in between in terms of presentation is really on point. Control-wise, Leon controls smoothly, somewhat similar to how he handles in the RE2 Remake, but since the areas here are much more open in comparison, I feel the controls and the feel of the character accommodates that. You can walk, run, jump over ledges and out of windows, and quickly switch directions. The shooting mechanics also felt really good here. No two guns felt alike, and I had fun experimenting with different weapons. You also have a knife that you can use for stealth kills and parrying, so yeah. My personal favorite weapon is the sniper rifle. Pulling off headshots with this thing is just beautiful. It is so satisfying. I also like the shotgun, especially the high power ones. Just catching a villager by close range, so good. You can purchase new weapons and enhancing existing ones with the merchant, which you can find by looking for the purple flames. You can also expand your case, which I highly recommend for holding weapons and useful items throughout the playthrough. Enemy variety is plentiful here. You have your standard villagers, which you can easily take out with some well-placed shots, the chainsaw dudes, which I still hate, the demonic hogs, which are new and a nice surprise for those who played the OG version, and you also have villagers who have these disgusting things pop out of their heads, which are just nasty looking. You also have some later enemies that will take more of a strategic way of tackling them, but overall, the enemy variety is good and I really enjoy fighting most of them. The boss fights, however, those were definitely the highlight for me. Not only did I enjoy the craziness of these fights, but just the pure intensity of them. My favorite fight would easily be the Ramon and Mendez. Those fights were extremely fun and epic. Challenging as well, I definitely had a couple of rage moments throughout my playthrough. Now, Ashley is also a part of the game, and she has her dedicated gameplay section, which I thought was very well done. It mostly consists of solving puzzles and escaping a maze, but it's great. Outside of that, she is a help for Leon to escape the island. I know I said I wouldn't talk about the original, but man, do I love Ashley in this version in comparison to the original. She's not nearly as annoying, her AI is actually helpful, so yeah. Look, I can go on and on about Resident Evil 4, but I will say this. If you never played the original, which I still highly recommend, I think there's enough there to differentiate the two. This game is one of the best action horror games you can get your hands on modern platforms. Great story, great visuals, amazing gameplay, and great puzzles. This is definitely going on my list as one of my favorite games of 2023, and I'm happy I got to experience this. Check it out. Again, I want to thank y'all so much for being so patient with me. I know the video rollouts have been a lot slower, but I am trying to balance a lot of stuff at once, but I promise I have not forgotten about y'all. I do have some content coming up that I have in the hard drive on my other computer, so hopefully I can get some of that stuff out to you guys in a timely fashion, kind of hold you guys over. Like I said, I know it's been a very, very long time since I posted, but I appreciate y'all for rocking with me. If this is your first time here, don't forget to drop a like. Go ahead and click that subscribe button if you enjoyed the content, and I'll see y'all next time, all right?